Hey everybody, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is the high probability. Well, this is going to be a couple things. We're going to start off with a market radar, and then we're going to go into the high probability watch list. So the video probably cut short for people who are not members. You'll get the first part of it, and then if you're a member, you'll probably just continue to hear the HPS setups for this week, which they are some great ones. So I'm happy to go into this in detail. We're going to try to do this, and remember now, I've we've been slow on the watch list of the last couple of weeks because of this Greek situation. I said, we really want to let this play out, at least get it behind us. And you can see the market where it is right now. It's rallying, but you feel the strength coming back into the market. You feel things are a little bit more, calmer. It feels like, some more in-depth research should be made, and I have some good setups for us. Some good 60-minute strategies also for early next week, earnings, and then some HPS things. So we're going to get into those. The week was good. It was a good week. It was a fun week. We finished off the week with the big surprise here in Google. Google was up like 100 points today, and a lot of people in the room were trading the options on that. So it was really fun to see everyone come into the room in the morning and be very excited about their returns and stuff. And that's you have to go out and say, all right, it's a big gamble. These days, anything, there's really no predicting it, but that's great. It's great to be part of that. The next thing here, let's take a look at the markets. Let's take a look at the markets in general. What I'm going to do is usually start off with the S&P 500. S&P 500, was giving us this trend line right on top of us where we're just hanging around it. It just goes from the highs down to June highs. Very slight, not really anything that I'd really consider, because when we look for these channels, we're going to talk more about them. They have to be at a certain angle. There's a certain angle to channels and wedges and stuff to be really considered, what I like to trade them. So this is a little weird because we're very close to the highs. We're right at a trend line. But it's meant to be watched, because look what's happening. The daily's getting extended here. Daily's overbought now on the daily stochastics, and the 60 has been chopping around up here. So it's now we've entered a game of musical chairs. The music is playing, the chairs are there, but when are they going to do? When's the music going to stop? And who's going to get the last chair? You know what I mean by that, right? I mean, we probably are due for a little retracement or a little chop, but this market has some strength behind it, with all of with everything that's going on and what could happen. The market here just teasing at all-time highs. So it seems like, and we saw the Fed, the rate increase coming down the road. The market's not afraid of anything. So it'll be interesting to see if this actually continues to go, because at one point, I always say one of my theories is you're not getting everyone in until it really starts to, give you a choice. So you might have to actually see this here push up higher, and people saying, well, this market's going to continue going, and then your aunts and uncles will get back into the market, my sister will get back in, and then we'll cash out. But we haven't seen that yet. That's a theory of mine. So you know what? The daily extended, the 60 extended. How did we leave off in the 5-minute? I was behind the scenes, but I was doing a lot of charting. Interesting. We have a coiled, what we call a coil here, a small little coil on the 5-minute. And it's a pretty decent one too. And the coil is this kind of compressed stochastic where it makes a series of higher lows or lower highs, depending on if it's a downward falling coil or a rising coil. It's almost a wedge pattern. And typically, we try to identify that coil with an underlying pattern on the charts, and it's usually has an upward bias to the upward coil. And lots of times you can put in a find something there that kind of represents that same motion. And what this tells us is that when this turns over, this is going to break down out of this channel. So right now, just looking at that 5-minute chart, not saying there's going to be any news that's going to move this market, and the market is extremely strong. This type of pattern typically breaks down off of this. Typically does. Now, I say typically 7 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times. What about the 2 times that, is tomorrow the one of the 2 times? I don't know. That's what we have to manage. Right now, looking at the markets, it is kind of it's an interesting level. We're near all-time highs. Um, we're at a very interesting time in time and space in our history. Not to get too, but it's like technology's coming along real fast. We just kind of passed Pluto. We're going to have a presidential election coming up. I mean, there's a lot of things here on the table that could push this market even higher. So we got to just keep the big picture open and kind of concentrate on the best setups. If it's not there and it looks shady, then have a little caution, have a little patience, but wait for your setups. We're tracking them every day. I said, all right, there we go. Now we have a combination of indicators lining up. We have this one here, but it does look, All right, so, going into next week, how do we look? Other than, seeing the highs right above us, do we pull back here before we make a test of that, or do we pop through? Can't make a big call on this. I feel the strength in the market. I know earnings is going to be good. Have been good. Should be continue to be good. And there's some good earnings coming out next week. So I want to say my bias is slightly to the upside, but I won't make a big call on this. And mainly because of that 60-minute time frame up here, and that daily here just getting overbought again. So there's a lot of things that I'm kind of just I don't buy into that really. I buy into the oversold level, the support line, the 1, 2, 3 pattern, and then that big candle and getting that follow through and getting up here. Am I convinced it's going to continue to go? No, I feel it could. It definitely could, but not convinced of it yet. So here we have, you can see it's almost about 4:15. So the future is going to close up here soon. This is where we ended up here, 21.18. Again, even though I'm not on the mic, so I'm not really doing my charting, I'm doing some other things. I am paying attention to the market right now. But during the week, if you join us during the week, you can see these patterns that we follow, the rising wedge patterns, the flags, the channels within the channel support lines, retracements. Everything has a rhyme and reason here. There's a roadmap. We know what happens when this road is crossed and how it pushes up to that one, and then we have new channels starting. So that's what we do each and every day. I think that's what we're going to have to concentrate a little bit more on going into next week, is that intraday trade. Start to really establish some good things. Good things might get into a nice rhythm soon, without news. We'll see if there's any more news, though. News is always an issue. So now we're going to take a look at some stocks, and this is not the HPS stocks, but I want to throw a couple stocks at you. These are stocks that are just continue to be very good, very strong. Well, not this one. Hold on. We're going to go back to that one, not that one. There's actually a couple stocks that I'm liking. All right. The Laboratory Corp of America. It's actually a very good channel. The top channel line, 1, 2, 3, is the third time it's touched it. And you could actually see we're holding here. We're actually holding against this. It's extended here. It's kind of overbought. But a quality name and a nice overall flag. And we've seen these flags break to the upside. So the timing on this, I'd rather have something that I could dig into a little bit more. But the 60-minute time frame is just getting oversold again. So it's something to watch on the 60-minute time frame going into Monday and Tuesday. And that's what I wanted to show you. Because maybe we get this as a minor flag, kind of embedded up here. We get a 60 rotation, we pop out of it. Very close to the highs. It feels like it wants to get back up there. It's a good price stock. It just looks good. That's LH. Now MDLZ, a very strong stock. I mean, it's a beautiful stock. Slow moving over the last couple of months, but everything is. So, $41 to $42 over 4 months. It's hard to hold on to something like that. Probably gonna pass on it, but I wanted to point it to you. Again, certain stocks are great. Do we have it? I don't mind trading Disney, but it needs to give us something, a better pullback or something. Because hell, I'm not going short Disney. DXCM. This one, I keep on watching it. Tight stops, it's always talked about it. Back here, let's just watch it go up another 15 points before we get interested in it again. I'm gonna get into this next week. It's not gonna give us any really good signals except maybe the 5-minute. So maybe on a 5-minute rotate, see, everything's against us. The 5-minute, the 60-minute, the daily, the trend. But you know what? It smells strong. You know, it's just, you got health services. You know, this thing is just, you can make that argument all the way up here. Oh yeah, it's really extended here. Yeah, extended at 100 too. I would have a hard time getting it, but I want to watch it. I just got to pull the trigger on that. United Health Services, another great one. This one's actually pulling back a little to the 20. This could easily chop around up there, and this could actually pop back up. You know, you can look at all these stocks and say, wow, these things made some great runs. Is it time for it to slow down? I don't know. You know, that's kind of the wild card up here. But a nice 20-period moving average. I bet you that 60-minute here is, well, it's not bad. It's starting to turn back up a bit. It's not an HPS setup, and we have better ones coming in the second half of this video. But you know I love CVS, and we traded CVS not that long ago. It's great stock to trade. Give us an opportunity in it, and we'll be on it. But there's no opportunity now. It's embedded. Probably is going to go higher. And you know, the moral of the story is I'm showing you these stocks because you don't have to trade every single day. If you just want to get into great stocks, take a look at the great stocks. These stocks continue to grind higher. The Dollar Generals, United Health Services, Disney's, Mondelez, probably, you know, General Mills. You know, these stocks, you know, make your life a little bit easier. And then there's a couple other ones I wanted to see. Here's the healthcare ETF. Look at this, beautiful. And it doesn't give you much of an opportunity, but you can see oversold to overbought, little pullback to oversold, push it back up to overbought, pull back to oversold. This is like a cash machine right here. We're back up here into overbought. You know, and then you have that. You always have that question. Well, what if it continues to move higher? Well, you know, that happens every so often, but it doesn't happen on the, doesn't happen. What am I saying? More times than not, the signal will be true. All right, so those are some things, and I also want to kind of show you what we are looking for. You know, I want to do a special educational video this weekend at one point. If I can't get out this weekend, that's going to get out too, but it's a good one. It's going to be talking about the lower channel line bounce play, which I think is the best. That's why I always do a lot of my scans for. And when I say by that, it's usually a quality name. It's usually a flag or a channel, but it's basically you're coming down to like a 1, 2, 3 pattern, and you're hitting that 4th or 6th or however. You're just trying to get down here. So when you establish a pivot and you get that secondary pivot, I love trading this thing. So because you're buying into the weakness, most likely your stochastics are going to set up, and you have a recognizable range here. So everything, and then you had other things like this underlying trend line that became an X marks the spot. You know, and this happens on quality names over and over and over again. And most of the great trades are just these channel trades. You know, sometimes they chop around a bit. The majority of them always, you know, seem to work out unless there's something funky going on in the markets. So, you know, a number one and very important, pattern to look for. And you're not going to find it all the time. You know, so lots of times you're going to see in stocks are going to be out of these patterns and pushing a high. These are pullback patterns usually. You know, it could be on a short term, on a 60-minute time frame. You could do it on the 60. You could do it on that or the daily. 5-minute becomes a little bit tougher, but 60 is good. You know, if you could pull out a 60-minute decent channel, it actually gives you better opportunities. They're harder to find because you have to always scan through those. But that's a great example of that. XO on mobile, just curious, because we've had a nice downtrend in ExxonMobil. You can see here, this pivot, as we close and pivot, that pivot came back down, it bounced. You know, this, in some cases you go sideways and you drop down, but the odds are, and this was again oil, utility stock, or energy stock, you know, that has its own issues. But let's see here. I talk about this one on the second half of the video, actually. There's actually an HPS setup on that, which we're going to go into. So I wanted to show you what the one of the things you might hear me talking about on the radio is called price divergence. Not like a lane divergence, but the price divergence, where price kind of diverges with the stochastics. And in one way, when we see, and tell you what I mean by that. If I could get something that's just giving me a good example. Well, no, not that. What am I doing that with AOL there? Let's think of Altria maybe. All right, this is okay. You can see there's just, normally when you see that momentum shift up, the stock price here shifts up. When it shifts down, the stock price shifts down. Shifts up, the overall trend, the pressure's starting to move up. So this is kind of in sync, and that's why we use these. You do have great signals just from these alone. I always say it's better to have the wind in your sail, downside, upside. There's times when they're in bed, but most of the time, if you're looking at a trade, you might as well look at this, see how it is. If you feel like you're going long here because your own strategy is saying go long, how great would it be to have this on your side also? That's why I always check in the morning before take any trade. Make sure you have that overall, cash 5 minute on your side. So when we get a divergence, we start to see something different happen. We don't get that normal thing. It could go either way. It could go against it. But what I look for, and it's called I call price divergences, and you see them a lot more often on the daily chart than the 60-minute. Now let me see if this is that one. Is that IPVR? No, hold on. IMPV or U? I wonder if that is V. That's it. So, you could normally see it. It usually takes the shape of just a sideways kind of a tight pattern sideways. And you see how this is dropping down, and this is kind of going sideways. And you want to see that divergence hold up. I mean, you don't want to have a good argument where you can say, oh, there's a low there, and there's a low. But what you want to have is one of these lows that start off earlier in the thing. And what happens is that low ends up being the low of the whole the low of the channel here, even though this is getting lower. And what happens is it doesn't even have to make a full rotation. You could just start to notice this. And this is not even a perfect example. I mean, they even come in much better. They look much better sometimes. We talked about a few of them here. I think we talked about Sealed Air. I think that was a nice one too, and that pulled back real fast and then popped back up. Still not moving. It's not moving a lot. It's not moving a lot, but some of them do move a lot. It just depends on the example I'm giving you, and they're hard to come by. But just in case you happen to see a divergence like that, keep it on your radar. See how far this rotation comes. See how it goes sideways, and that's usually when you get oversold or buyers start to come in. Once this turns, the price starts to move up and out of the channel, and the opposite is true on the sell side. All right, so that's that. And also, I want to remind you one more thing. Each of the HPS setups that are coming up, I'm not really going to talk about them. What I'm going to tell you about them is that they're on the site, on the HPS site, and they have the individual videos. All right? They have the individual videos attached to them. Normally, I was going to just put this in there, but I don't even have to say it because each of the HPS has their own individual video describing the setup and stuff. All right, I just wanted to look back at my notes to make sure I wasn't missing anything because there is a lot of other stuff I want to actually add to the members section. So we're going to cut this video off here, and then and that's about it because I have to start the other video soon and get that out. All right, so but you know what? I talk about this stuff all the time, every day during the week. So I'll see you guys Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Market open and closes with DayTraderRockStar every single day. All right, so maybe I'll see you there. It's going to be a fun week next week. Lots of earnings. IBM's coming out Monday evening, so I'm just showing that on the screen here because I want to start that on the other video. All right, bye.